Hey guys,
Howdy, howdy.
Hey,
we got extra guests with us tonight, as you see. Other than Cernoch,
yeah, right.
But this guy is the star of the show today.
Now we got baby Dap.
That's right.
yeah. Other than Cernoch, hold on.
Yeah, right.
All
I
good. All good.
Yeah, we got the Dapper Cub in the house.
Right. You know it.
We're on that. Yeah, man, we were just hanging out in the back room. Jay, thanks for coming in, bro. Like trying to get going on this thing, but we'll hang out. How's everybody else's day going?
Mine's
Good.
I've been busy.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I've been busy today, sourcing and listing and doing the thing.
Good, man.
Yeah.
I had to deal with a return today. UPS broke my golf club on the way to the buyer, and Macari approved it. So I got to file a claim.
Bro, that's tough, man.
Yeah. What you gonna do?
You breaking a golf club, you're doing something pretty serious.
Dude, he was like, so it's funny because like it gets to him, and then all of a sudden I get this like notification for a return, and they approved it today. So I messaged them, hey, what's up? They were like, oh, it was fine, but there's a huge crack down the head of it. I know I did not send that with a crack down the freaking head of it. So there goes my video idea for how to send a golf club in the mail. So I clearly did not do a good job.
Oh man. It's crazy. I don't even do much to those things most of the time. I put them in the tube, put a little foam around the upper end of it, let her eat. Like that's
that's literally what I did. You know what I mean? Like it's no different than any other driver I've shipped. Although I did post a TikTok of like Christina swinging around like a freaking sword. So probably not good evidence of that.
Yeah.
So nobody send USPS that TikTok. No.
No doubt. Yeah.
But we appreciate you coming on, Chris, man. How you doing?
No problem at all.
Yeah. OSP in the house, Tim in the house.
Hey.
Thank you guys, man. Mr. Bill, Leroy. I always call Ken Mr. Bill, man, because his old little tag was Mr. Bill.
I just call him Bill.
Yeah. I think his real name's Ken.
I think so too.
So I've always called him Mr. Bill since the beginning. So
I know.
He told me the other day that was okay. So
okay. Ken's just polite. He's just never corrected us.
Yeah.
Hey Tracy, hey Lisa and Rob, how are you?
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming in. Tim, man, I'm close, bro. Like this morning, I was like 20 hours out. So
shooky.
Maybe like 20 minutes, I think is what it was. Something like that. Something ridiculous. But
shooky ducky.
We should be good after tonight.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. So we're not wrong. His last name was Bill.
Ah, gotcha.
Mm.
There you go. That makes sense. Yeah, Tim, I hit him up earlier a little bit. He's loading up for this market he's going to be selling at tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Getting a hustle on.
Get it.
Yeah.
Is he bringing all of his glass stuff or all of his clothing?
And I think it's a kind of a eclectic mix-up.
Yeah.
I know what he's not bringing out there is his sports cars because he was doing something else with that one.
That's his 401k right there.
Yeah. I think he's starting another company.
Okay.
Another deal.
Has he roped you into that yet, Cernoch? Are you in the sports cards game yet?
I'm not a sports card guy. No.
Yeah.
No, I got too many irons in the fire.
Dude, for anybody who doesn't know, if you have never seen Tank's like inventory, it is holy smokes, man. Like if there is at any time like the apocalypse is gonna happen, I'm coming to your house because you got clothes.
Yeah.
For days.
I just went to Will and bought another like 15 pairs of shoes today.
Bro.
Not
So like What are you? I mean, since you're talking about picking up shoes, like what are your? We always hear you talk about hats. Like, what are your standards for shoes?
Man, a lot of my standards are can it make me money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Can it make me $20, $30, $40, $50? I pick up a lot of, I've versed myself in a lot of, just like sneakers, like anything from running sneakers, basketball, I mean, brands, you name it, I want to pick it up. So kids shoes, I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff like, anything from an Adidas sneaker to a Nike sneaker to New Balance to, weird off the wall type stuff. So
For sure.
There's a market for it, new and used. So
yeah,
I mean, there's definitely. So my mainstays are like hats, shoes, like shirts, sweaters, jackets. That's kind of like my my meat and potatoes. A lot of menswear too. I do a lot of menswear. So
What in the world?
what? Yeah.
That's Jimmy, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Why?
He just changed his name.
Did it?
Yeah, old school flips.
Oh. There's so many pickers and flippers.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Cats in the house, +1 thrifting. Thanks for coming in. Who else did I see? Somebody else. Jimmy, obviously, slipping in under the radar.
OSF.
Hey, so Cernoch, I know we've hung out quite a bit listing. But man, what kind of got you into the whole reselling thing? Like for those of you who may not know the backstory, but
all right. So the backstory about it is, now I was I was in the restaurant industry, and so I'm like a restaurant industry burnout. I was a manager, I was a bartender, I was a manager, and just kind of like during my my management. I started like on the side picking up items. I had been selling and flipping items for forever, since like the early 2000s when I was in Los Angeles. I was flipping CDs and music and posters and different things on eBay. So I'm pretty, keen on the eBay stuff. But when it came to like kind of like that full-time reseller, it didn't click until like one day I was at a Ross, and it was before one of my shifts, and I found 2 pairs of like, 90, Air Max 97s, and they were like $50 a piece. I was like, yo, these are worth way more than $50. And I bought both of them, so I spent $100. I flipped each pair for $150. So just like I was like, oh wow, I mean that's really cool, and then I just kind of like picked up a few more and just started like watching some YouTube videos, and everyone's heard of the like I kind of cut my teeth on like like Glenn Hustler hacks, and it was just stuff like that where it was like just like learning and like, oh yeah, like thrifting, like, oh my God, like I've got all these clothes, I've bought all these clothes before, like start selling them, and just going out and just doing those, just learning all those things. I've been a fan of shoes and hats and shirts and jackets and style and fashion for so long, so it's just kind of like putting it out there, like, hey, this is, I know all this stuff, I can flip it. So, and then eventually I just got tired of my not 9 to 5, my 70 hours a week as a restaurant manager. And I quit that job, moved on to something else. And then I was like in sales for like about a year after my restaurant gig. And then I said, you know what, let's go full time. Let's just do it. And then one day I just, they were actually downsizing at that one sales job. And they was like, all right, who wants to, basically, get laid off and take a severance. And I was like, me. I'm all about it. I'm ready to go.
Bingo.
And, yeah, and it happened, and I said, I said, hey, all right, it's time to go. And
Yeah.
so,
do you feel like any of those like past careers kind of lent itself? Like you feel like you picked up stuff along the way that like kind of give you like the opportunity to go full time?
I will say no.
Mm.
The restaurant industry was just like head down,
Yeah.
death, and that gave me the just like I had to find something better. I've got to do it. And then once everything kind of just started clicking, it was like, why not? Why?
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing. And people hear me say it all the time. I love like reselling and working on my own because I don't have someone telling me, I report to myself, and
Sure.
and I'm responsible for myself. So that's the most motivation I need. So.
Yeah.
I always see I see, especially like when we're listing together, that kind of stuff. I always see you working and like hustling at it. That was one of the things I thought, like, I had a Subway for a while myself, like 8 years. And I know for me, like that sense of urgency, like working quicker with your hands,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is one thing that I could say if you're coming out of the restaurant industry and you're used to like, okay, this has got to go. Like, it's a little bit different speed than what a lot of people work at.
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure,
see
man.
that little bit of grind coming. And I mean, Sam knows because he grew up in the restaurant industry too.
Just
That's
even like,
I'm always took away from it. It's like, look, man,
yeah.
I used to hire people and I'd be like, look, I can teach you everything else, but I can't teach you hustle. Like I can't teach you how to have that sense of urgency. Like, okay,
No,
just gotta get out of here.
Especially like if you're a manager, right? Like thinking on the fly, like what if you have a server that doesn't show up and it's Saturday night during the dinner rush, you got to get creative and stuff, So I feel like it's those little soft skills that, like, I mean, at least for me, like picking it up and even just like having tough skin for like customers on eBay or Mercari, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there ain't nothing you can say to me on those platforms that someone hadn't said in my face at a restaurant.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. These guys are busted on Subway. Dude, I was actually pretty quick, man. I can make a sandwich less than a minute. So it's I can eat a sandwich almost as fast.
No, but like seriously though, because like I felt like that pace of speed and that work like trickled into other things I did, and even when I was an employee, people took notice, like just at the rate that you're working on. And other people pay attention when you're working a lot more efficiently than they are.
Yeah, and to put in the work is not bad either. Like I might put in a 50, 60, 70-hour week at home. But again, it's at home. I'm doing it at my speed. I'm getting things done. I see it in the sales. I've been, let's see, probably over, I started full time, not last year, but the year before in April. So, what is that? A year, 9 months, maybe, so I haven't gone anywhere, it's working out and paying the bills, still in my house, lights are on, so, it's working out, and it just gives me that peace of mind where it's like, I don't have to worry about that email coming in at 7:00 in the morning going, hey, why do you do this, and this? And it's like, oh my goodness, so.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, just like, you said it already, like just the freedom of just kind of doing what you need to do and being accountable to yourself, because I think that's the hard part. There are some folks that are designed to just go to the office, do what they're not supposed to do, 8 to 5. They are the employee. But then there are folks like, I just had a friend from high school come over, and she's trying to figure it out right now. She tried teaching. She was miserable. And now she writes. She works off of Upwork now. And she rakes in like 3 to 4 times more than what she could working as a teacher. And she gets to spend time with her kids at home, which is even better now, like, because her kids were homeschooled for a little while for the pandemic. So,
yeah, looking back at it now, like I couldn't even imagine working in a restaurant right now under these conditions.
Yeah.
And having the kids, not in school, and it's probably one of the best decisions I've made for myself, for my career, for
Right.
my family. So,
would you ever let your kid or kids work just like a minimum wage job?
In the restaurant industry?
Yeah, or just anyone.
No
Really?
way. No.
Yeah.
I'd be like, look, let me show you. If you've watched Dad long enough, you can make way more money than going slumming it,
Yeah.
Well, it's different. If it's bartending, some of my best years were like bartending in Georgetown.
Yeah.
Great.
Dang.
If they want to be, bartender, things like that. If they want to do management, like I'll tell you this, anybody that wants to get in restaurant management, you're a sick puppy. All right.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
There's a reason why everybody smokes in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Yeah, restaurant management, man. All the hours, everybody else making more pay than you.
Yep.
Like, that's a trick. It's a trap.
I mean, I think about that, I'm like, do I need to let him kind of sweat it out in a 9-to-5, like minimum wage, like crappy job? Just so I kind of like feel like the value of like just even $20, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I think the important lesson is let them do that. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna let them do that.
Yeah.
And then when they get that first paycheck and see like taxes and all that stuff, and they go, "What?"
He's gonna be like,
bro,
grasshopper.
No, but seriously though,
a better way.
I mean, I remember at 14, my first paycheck, like the F is FICA. Like, I'm not even old. Why am I paying Medicare?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though we pay it, with in our reselling business, it's just different where you're like,
Right.
Man, I put in, these hours and did this and this, and that's what it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess kids can learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so do you ever think about like hiring another person or just vetting your kid to be your second in command?
So my kids are 6 and 12 right now. So the 12-year-old though, he acts like a 17-year-old. I'm like, yo,
Okay.
when are you gonna start driving and going picking this stuff up, dropping it off?
Yeah.
He helps out. But he's got that teenager angst where he's like, he wants to help out, but then it's like, okay, Dad, well, whatever, like.
Yeah.
So like, I have been working on a few ideas to get some of this stuff listed a little bit better. What I need, kind of like with all my clothing, what I need is a photographer. And I've been working on this idea, and again, I hate that it's just an idea still because it hasn't been executed yet. I want to have someone, maybe in the area. I live in a pretty large community. Someone in the community where I can just be like, hey, I'm gonna dump off 50 shirts. I'm gonna give you $1 a shirt, each to be pictured, and then I'll go come pick them up, and then I'll have all the pictures ready to go. So I'm still working on the outline. I just get busy with day-to-day stuff right now. So it's just I'm building towards that. I need someone to take pictures. That's what I would want right now to scale my business. Like, hey, here you go. If they can bust out 200 shirts a week, I'll spend that $200, $300 to pay for that, just so like I don't have to do it.
Yeah, because it'd pay for itself. I mean, if you got 200 extra listings a week, man.
Right.
Jimmy made the comment he learned with his son he needs to learn work ethic before he works for me. Like, yeah, it's tough, man.
So one of the things I had my 12-year-old. He was volunteered. He was helping me. I gave him a few projects. He did what I kind of did was instead of like telling him you need to do this, and this, I said, hey, I'm going to give you a project, and I want to see how you execute this project. You got to come up with your own ideas. You got to come up with your own timeline. You report back to me on how you think your project's going along. And I thought that worked out really well. Because I had clothes hanging up, and it wasn't organized. And I said, organize this downstairs. However you want to do it, just do it and let me know how you did it. and he was coming up to me and saying, "All right, Dad, I need those like little circle dividers to put on the poles." I'm like, "All right, ordered." Like I need this, and this.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And so I was doing different things, and I mean, he got like pretty good. Where it's like, oh, he's like, "All right, Dad, here's all your polo shirts, and they're by brand, Lacoste and Polo and Tommy Hilfiger, and here's all your black T-shirts. Here's all your white T-shirts. Here's all your different color, red, blue, and he like all like color coordinated it." And I just, while I was listening, he was just downstairs, like kind of like working on that, and it was really good to see where it's like instead of just standing over him and being like, "Now do this, do this, do this," it gave him a way to kind of like put a lot of his thought and a lot of his effort, and I think I got a lot more out of him by letting him do that than just standing over him and telling him what to do.
100%, man. I think that was, I don't know if you just knew that instinctively or what, but I mean, that's a managerial like exercise right there.
Yeah.
You're just being able to kind of give someone a project, give them some, liberty and freedom to do what they need to do and just see what their creativity and potential takes them. You have some people that fall flat in their face, but you hate to like start off the project and be like, "You're going to fail already, but good luck."
Yeah.
So
he surprised me. He would ask me questions every once in a while, like, "Hey, like, should I, like, I've got this going on with your jackets. Should I, do this, or this?" And I'm like, "Well, it would be easier, to do it A rather than B." And be like, "Okay, send me upstairs," So
that's cool, man. I see that Kat was mentioning in the chat that her son had lost his job, so she's trying to get him involved in the reselling game, and then her mom was taking pictures, and then Uncle B was talking about his son has his own area, but he let the death pile get out of control. Mm-hmm. It's tough. I mean, I think it's the same thing. Like me and Sam have had this conversation before. Whatever your dad does, that's one of those things you're kind of like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. Then you see later on, it's like, man, maybe there's a little bit more to that than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my son knows how to clean a pair of shoes. I'll tell you that.
That's good, man.
There you go. Yeah, it's one of those things. So one of the things I've always thought with you is, how did you get your game up so much on these hats, man? Like, how did you learn how to, like, I mean, because, dude, I'll shoot you a picture. Oh, yeah, that's this. Like, you're like,
it's one of those things. Okay, so, like, again, like, it's like things from your, like, childhood that those kind of, like, I was always around that type of hat. And I didn't kind of, like, learn to respect it, like, until, like, almost, like, 40 years later. But, like, my grandfather had those hats. My dad had those hats. When they would go into I remember in Texas, in McCoy's Hardware. "Hey, Frankie, how's it going? All right, I need these building supplies. Oh, I see you got this lumber. Well, hey, thanks for, basically purchasing $300 worth of lumber. Hey, here's a free hat. Thanks, thanks for coming by. Thanks for giving us your business." And a lot of businesses did stuff that way. They would have hats on deck for their good loyalty customers, just to say thanks. And, businesses did that as well, And so you just had all these guys just getting these collections of hats and hats and hats. And just like years later, it's like, I remember just like finding all these hats and I'm like, man, these just tell a story. And that's what I love. Like every hat had a story attached to it, even if we knew it or not. You know what I'm saying? Some dad, some grandfather was given that hat by another guy, another business person, and said, "Hey, take this, thank you." And it was just that was kind of like, I remember all my dad's hats and my grandfather's hats, and it was just like really fun just to go through a lot of these. I found, like, what kind of kicked it off is I found some really, really big hauls of trucker hats, and I bought like 300 trucker hats for like $20 one time. Yeah. And it was just like, it was like researching it, go through it, and just like, dude, I've probably seen like 5,000, 10,000 hat tags,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like looking at it and researching it and knowing, like with my hats, I love to just take a hat and what I'll do is like say this hat, anyone could just put this on eBay and put C's Body Shop, trucker hat. Okay. But I want to know who C's Body Shop was and where it is.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I want to see if it, if this phone number is still there. And I want to see if, this was, in West Virginia or Ohio or something. I want to know about that business, because the more information I can have on it, the better I can sell it. And then again, just like looking at every tag and feeling it and just touching them and looking at them, I can say like, all right, that's 80s, that's 90s, that's okay. No, that's new. That's don't worry about that. So
like on a body shop hat like that, how would its history, like what would your description look like? You're telling the story.
So all right, so I'll break it down right now. Now, I haven't done the research on this because this is one of these hats that I need to list. But what I would first do is I would Google this, so C's Body Shop.
Mm-hmm.
I would find out like what city and state it's in. Okay, and then right away you can tell this is older. Whenever the phone number doesn't have the area code, that's 80s,
like 90s maybe,
or early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then I look at the tag, and then sometimes I see the tag, and then again, I've seen enough of these tags to where I can date this one. Now, a lot of times what happened was when you had China making a lot of hats, but then they would ship off their hat to somewhere else to get finished up, to put like the stitching in it, and they get it sent overseas. So in the 80s, you don't see a lot of made in China hats. It's always Taiwan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines, all those, other places other than China. So whenever I see China, it tells me it's like, all right, that's 90. So this one is actually China. It's a newer style hang tag. You can see it right there. So this would be definitely like 90s, early 90s. So this would be vintage 90s, and I would put C's Body Shop. And then I would try to put in the place. So say it was like Cincinnati, Ohio, or Martinsburg, West Virginia. Just because sometimes people look for things in their area, And then I would put navy blue mesh trucker hat, or snapback mesh snapback trucker hat. That'd be it,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So Tim Glock had a question for you, Tank. It's sort of like denim. Is there a market for naturally distressed hats, ones that farmers wore for a few seasons or anything like that?
Okay, so this is what I'll say about hats. All right, every hat is different. Okay, so you may have there may be a market for certain denim hats, certain trucker hats, certain 3-stripe hats, certain K-brand hats. You never know what the market's gonna. It's very volatile. Okay, so what I always say is like, hey, if you get hats cheap enough, there is a market for hats to sell. I've seen some people sell the dirtiest, nastiest hats for $10. Okay, if that's their business plan, yeah. Some of those worn farmer hats can go for a lot of money. It just depends on the brand and the patch or the whatever's on it or wherever it's made. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, and that just takes a lot of research. That again, if you want to get good in something, you just got to do the research. You got to, and what I can tell people is, if you want to learn hats, or if you want to learn trucker hats and what to look for and what your bolos are, it's a simple thing. It's like it's like a lot of different things. Go into eBay, type in vintage trucker hat. All right, hit search, hit advanced, hit solds, hit the very top, highest price to lowest price, and look at it that way, and just look, just be like, and I do that every once in a while. I'll just type it, all right, here we go, and then you see oh wow, this Mountain Dew hat is selling like crazy. This Ford Trucks, 3-stripe hat selling like crazy, and you just put that in your memory bank, going, if I ever come across that, I'm picking that up. But with hats, if I come across it, I can usually tell, all right, I'm picking these up. I'm picking these up. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that people sometimes overlook with reselling. Like we're so used to comping with our phones, everybody's just comping with their phones. But I mean, to be learning to know what to look for is something that you may learn it by accident because you're just comping something else. But when you're actually actively researching to see, hey, what sells in this category, this is something I'm listening in. That's a game changer. Like, I mean, I know for you, I see it because you know so much about it, but I know it's not something to just one day you woke up, hey, I know K products and skincare, like I know that kind of stuff. Like, it's from doing research, but man, it's amazing to me that you've definitely got the firm grasp on not just that. I know like some clothing stuff, some vintage clothing, tags,
T-shirt,
like
it's the same thing. It's
yeah.
It's just learning those things and just kind of like putting yourself in it to where, see, now what I do is I like to do some research. Again, when I'm doing these hats, I can bang out 80 hats in a day. But if I'm putting in the time to do the research, I may bang out 40, but I may have some of those key words that are going to sell it better than someone else's. And I'm going to sell it for more expensive than someone else's. You know? So, and also I put them on multiple platforms too, because I sell on Grailed, Depop, and Macari, as well as eBay. I think out of our, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but out of our community, I don't think anyone has more sales on Grailed than I do. I have like over 800 sales on Grailed alone. So
I don't know anybody else.
And I sell, I it's not a lot. eBay is always my number one. But again, I sold $500 in a week on Grailed selling hats, sweaters, and shirts. So an extra $500 coming in, that's pretty good, I'd say. So.
He's talking about a Mountain Dew 3-striper.
Yep, Mountain Dew 3-striper. Yeah, Kent sent me that. Like, bro, can you believe that? I'm like, yep, I know that. I've done the research. I've seen that. Again, it's like a lot of those categories. You can get get bogged down in. But man, if you just throw like 10 or 20 bolos and you don't forget, like that one day I'll show a hat. I was walking through. Yeah, look at that. I've seen
$1,000, bro.
Yeah.
On a hat.
Yeah. And that's real. Andy Garza sold an $810 hat, and it was he showed he showed me that he sent me the message. He's like, look, hey, bro. I'm like, wow, So these aren't inflated. These aren't money laundering. These are people will pay for these hats.
That's bonkers.
Crazy, man.
So because I know you do surgery on hats too. I know you have like a patch bucket and whatnot. Like, how does that change? Because do you always find like a perfect hat for the patch? I feel like you mix and match.
Well, see, I don't really put a lot of patches on yet.
Okay.
I haven't really, what I've been really doing is just really, involved in, I love my goal is when you find just a box of hats and they're all stacked. It's like they're all like compressed together. That like my eyes light up. I'm like, oh yes, because those mean that they're ready to go. They're like you can just pull them out, pop them out, just test them out. Because a lot of these are new hats from the 80s and 90s that were never worn. Because my dad would be like, oh man, like I got a lumber hat, lumber yard hat, and we would just put it in his closet or put it on the hat rack and never wear it because he had his favorite hat he wore like crazy. Okay. But he would just take those hats and it would be kind of like a mini trophy. Like, hey, look what I got. Look what I got for being a good customer. So a lot of these hats were not even worn. So when you find them all stacked up like that, man, you know you got gold right there because 90% of the time it's gonna be like, all right, brand new without tags, never worn.
That's the ones like I told you that I had in the bag. They were in bags in a drawers, like these plastic drawers, except for the dust. Like those K products dusted me out on a couple of them. I had to vacuum them all out.
And that a lot of that's like trial and error. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, again, doing the research. Hey, I want to take these hats and I want to figure out how to, how to restore them and how to do this. And I, watch the videos. Again, some of the solutions I've came up on my own. Some of the things where I've, like my cleaning solutions, I've taken bits from here, trial and error, and I can be like,
yeah.
But again, it's like working with like clothing or shoes or cleaning anything. Like if you ever had a dry cleaning business, you would know like not every thing that comes in the door is cleaned the same way. It's not like, all right, let's just every single item is a different material, different age. And that's where it goes to your hats. Every hat, it has a little different characteristics. So it's like, well, hey, is it going to just take, a brush? Is it going to take a soaking? Is it going to take a solution? Is it going to take, me cleaning it out? So again, it's hard to answer questions sometimes unless I would have the hat right there with me.
Yeah. Bro, it'd be, sorry to cut you off, but I think it'd be cool if you ever had the time to take away from your business to do like a flow chart for folks, like if this material, yes, no, do this, if this, do this, and I think that would be, how to basically kind of condense and translate the knowledge you've accumulated, and boil it down, for me, who I don't have the time to accumulate. I mean, I do, but
I've got all these great ideas from my YouTube videos, and I'm just like, listing on YouTube, and it's like,
I feel you, dude. I feel you, man.
I pulled that thumbnail off one of your videos today that I was watching. That I was like, when you had all the Chinese, like whatever that hat was. What'd you say it ended up being? Like Chinese army hat or something?
Chinese military, like that. Yeah,
that's why. Tim Glock has another question. Are there vintage blank hats out there that have never been worn? If so, what do you do with them? Leave them alone or put a patch on it?
Both. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. If you have, a vintage patch to put on a vintage hat, create a vintage piece, Or I sell a lot of blank hats. So, it's one of those things that, you can do whatever you want with it. It's yours. If you want to slap it on a patch and, sell it that way, go ahead. If you want to, some people just buy them blank. It's just like a style too. I've got these. I bought a bunch of like these. It was like orange, like the safety orange and camo hats, and those sell like crazy. On Grail because the kids love that style. And it's like, all right, cool. When some of these like brands like Supreme and Vape and some of those Japanese brands, they're bringing in all that camo and those colors. Mm-hmm. So a hat like that would bring attention to an outfit they may be wearing. So I just saw that. The thing too, and a lot of things too, where I say every hat's different, and you got to know your markets too. Yeah. I pick up hats to sell to collectors, but then I pick up hats to sell to like as fashion items. Okay, and a lot of people don't get that when I say that. Fashion is part of hats. Mm-hmm. So something like this is going to go to a collector. Okay, this steel chainsaw denim hat, that's going to go to a collector. But something like, I don't know, just like an old trucker hat that green with something cool. This may go. This is something. This is not going to go to the collector. This is going to be a fashion accessory. Okay, so like it's got that cool like navy blue and yellow. It's kind of faded out, but it's a nice bright yellow. So it's like you think about just the Jordans or your shoes or your jacket or something like that. It's a cool accessory to wear. And the great thing, and I've told this a lot of times, the great things about these vintage hats is when they're styling their outfit, these these are very unique items.
Right, right.
We're very like, hey, you ain't finding this. Like, you're not gonna be rocking this hat, and then some other dude comes in and has a hat just like it.
And that's the whole premise, of Hype Gear,
Exactly.
and Supreme, and all those types of brands. So
it's like, you want limited edition. This is this edition that you can get.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
yeah, pulling that out of the closet.
Yeah, like where, and I've told that to people too. Like, all right, where else are you gonna like? Hey, I think your hats are a little high. Okay, find me another hat just like that.
Yeah.
Where else are you gonna buy that for cheaper?
Where's the comp? Where's the comp?
That's the thing too. Going to the comps. So many people get wrapped up in the comps. Okay.
Mhm.
Like, oh man, like what's this hat worth? What's this hat worth? It's like no. There's comps for some things, like that Mountain Dew hat. Some of your John Deere hats. Things like that. Now I say comp every hat, but if you see someone selling something similar, lower at a lower price, you know what? They may not know what they have. I've sold many hats for $20, $30, $40 a piece, where other people had them for $8. But I got that premium because I worded it correctly. I sold it on a different platform. I did all those things. So I never tell people be beholden to the comp of their hats.
Right. Yeah,
Sure, man. I mean, because I've heard you say, like, forget about that. Throw it on Grail for 500. I'm like, what? Because you figure, I don't know, what was the Mountain Dew hat comp before that one? Or was he the only one? He was just like, I don't know, I'm just gonna highball it, see what happens.
Yeah, and the thing is, always go high, because you can always come down. I always do best offer. I always take offers. So it's like, you know what? Instead, if I have a hat in mind that I'm like, yo, this is a $30 hat, I'm always listing for 40, because they're gonna bring me down, and I'll be like, you know what? Oh yeah, you're getting a deal for $30. Well, that's what I wanted to sell that hat anyway. And guess what? I bought that hat for 50 cents or $1.25.
Right.
Because I bought a whole bunch of them.
You're like, oh, dude, let me hook you up with this special deal today.
Yeah, like Depop, someone's like, hey, let me do this hat for $10.
For sure, yeah.
I could have been like, no, bug off. But I said, hey, you know what? I'll give you a deal. I'll do 2 hats for $25, free shipping. And the guy's like, you know what? That sounds like a good deal. Because I said, I'm paying a lot in shipping just by sending a $10 hat. He said, that's a good deal. Let me pick out another hat. All right, game done. I buy 2 hats for $12.50. So
there you go. Hey, so do you set, like, I mean, I'm not on these other platforms yet. I know I keep getting the every time Tank sees my hats, he's like, bro, why are you not on Grilled?
Always, man. From day one, he's been grilling me.
That's what I'm saying. I've actually, man, I looked at the List Perfectly stuff today. I was like, because I don't want to list them on 2 places. I want them to do most of it for me. So we'll see how that works out. But what do you do on eBay? Like, do you set a minimum offer amount, or do you let them just offer whatever they want and then you just decline it, whatever they do?
I let people offer whatever. It gives me a chance to like counter offer or send a message or whatever. So I mean, you never know. Yeah. I'll list it at a certain point on eBay, and then on Grail and Depop, I just go a little bit above. So if I list it for like 30 on eBay, it'll be 35 on Grail.
There you go.
So just a little buffer. It's just.
So are you using List Perfectly to move stuff around? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
I saw your Instagram today.
Yeah. I use List Perfectly. It's a really good tool, especially because I do a lot of Grail, I do a lot of Depop. I'm doing Macari, and I don't know. My Macari is. I have no comment on Macari because I think I got banned off of Macari, and then I got reinstated, and I don't think it's ever like really. I think I'm on a list.
Bro, you got put in the Macari jail.
Yeah, I got put in Macari jail because I was using this perfectly, and it was using some of my like wordage, like PayPal and I had a few where it said like, eBay returns or something like that, and I was thinking, and I was just like putting it on eBay, or I was putting it on Macari, and they were like killing it, like, you can't even put PayPal on eBay in a Macari listing. So like it was like 3 strikes and I'm out. And they took down my listing. And I'm like, oh, took all my listings down. And I said, and I called them up. I said, I don't know. This was a big mistake. I'm using this new software to, just to, I'm trying to put items on your platform to sell,
Yeah.
They understood and they reinstated me, but it hasn't been the same since. Ever since like I got banned, I've put stuff up on there, but it doesn't sell like it used to. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. So
I doubt it. Highly doubt it. I mean, I feel like you kind of start putting your energy towards, the path of least resistance too. Why would you pull the gas, foot off the gas pedal on the platforms that are like working for you and well, you know what I mean? It's like the same, same principles behind why you're not like plugging as much time into YouTube videos. Is like, cause this thing pays more.
Well, yeah. And like all my sweater, I got on a sweater kick. I did like 100 sweaters this week to where it's like, all right, they're selling on eBay, Grailed, and Depop. I threw a few of them on Macari. They're really not getting any looks. Hey, I'm just gonna keep moving on. So I'm gonna keep, give it, putting the effort into the platforms that are actually like working for me.
Right.
So.
Someone asked me about not safe for work hats.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Some of those novelty hats, and I know a lot of people like, there's novelty hats, stupid carnival, or like, the boardwalk hats that would have like the seagull poop on it, or say
I started one of those the other day. I've got one of those just
after a few beers, she's looking pretty, it's like something that, risque type, sure. those novelties sell.
What about old airbrush hats? Have you ever sold any of those?
Yeah, I mean,
really,
any of that, any of that stuff where it's like, it's nostalgic, it's retro, it's 80s, 90s. It's something different. You ain't gonna, again, you're not gonna go to the store and pick up. I have a lot easier time selling a novelty hat that says something stupid on it than selling a brand new era sports team hat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because again, there's so many out there. New era. It's great to find the new era hats out in the wild, but you see, like the market is so flooded with those. You're just a number floating out there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I used to live near Panama City Beach. You want to talk about airbrush, bro? Like, there's airbrush everywhere. T-shirts and hats.
Same when I lived on the Jersey Shore.
Oh man, like there's a stand on every corner. But yeah, hey, we did want to give a shout out to Papa Sticks, man. Thanks for coming through. I actually got to meet him last weekend, so that was cool. Hanging out. He is a picker, dude. That guy was filling the van up.
Get it.
Yeah. So thanks for
coming. Like vacation style hats, like tourist hats, like all that stuff. Like you don't know how many like Atlantic City trucker hats I've sold, or like Florida, like those are gold. It's like seagulls and alligators and whatever. If it's nice and someone, it's gonna sell. It's gonna sell.
Yeah, we get those. I mean, obviously, I live in a tourist place now, so like Outer Banks hats. Plus, when Netflix came out with Outer Banks, everybody was buying Outer Banks T-shirts, like going nuts about it. But yeah, hey guys, if you aren't, I know these guys have been dropping the link in the chat, but if for some reason you're not subscribed to Cernoch, dude, go back and educate yourself. Watch some videos.
Yeah,
we've done some long videos that I just go on for 4 hours talking about hats.
Yeah, man. It is. For me, I love the passion you have for hats.
Seriously, man.
It's contagious, dude. It gets everybody all geeked up. Like the guys talk about the card stuff, like you see people flipping out. I was like, dude, sometimes if you're having a bad day, just jump on with Cernoch, show him a couple hats. It'll get you
Bro, I was like, we need to like mail them some blood pressure medication, like when you and Tim were like doing your hat show. And then when you did with Calvin too.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh my goodness. I'm like, dude, I feel like if we don't calm Cernoch down, he's gonna blow a gasket. He's so excited.
I was loving it, man. You got me looking, that's for sure.
And you know what? It's money too. It's money. It's that. Look, I paid $20 for this big box of hats. This big box of hats is gonna net me $1,000.
Yeah.
If I list all this over time, this box is worth $1,000. And that's we're all into reselling.
Yeah.
You can go out to I went out and I bought these for $20. I'm going to sell these for $60. Okay, but hats are everywhere.
And cheap.
If you find the right hats and buy them cheap enough, if you can get them for 50 cents a piece or buy a big box of 300 for $20, that's thousands of dollars worth of product. And again, it's listings, it's getting your eBay algorithm moving. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, it is one of those things. I mean, I'm so thankful I run into you. I mean, obviously through Tim is how we kind of got connected, because Tim was like he was our first guest here on the show, and he got me looking at other things, glass, which, like we talked about, I took a little detour from that because, man, I'm just not as into it. But man, the hat thing is so crazy because where I source, that's available and nobody's picking it up. In fact, the guy that I buy stuff from said they were throwing that stuff in the trash. It's like, man, he said, we find it in every estate sale. Most of the time we're throwing it away. Said, as a result, I've got like 500 hats now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, hats are hats are like just like shirts and pants and shoes.
Yeah.
You're gonna find them. You're gonna find them everywhere out there. Yes, they're getting thrown away, but again, they're making these things are becoming rare. And as a hat made in the 80s, that's 30, 35 years ago. So they're becoming older, and it's becoming rarer. And everything has history and all that.
Yeah. Heidi was asking about the mesh back. Is that what makes it a trucker hat?
That's a little debate. It's like this. You can call it a trucker hat. Like I call it trucker hats a lot of things. This to me is a trucker hat. This right here is a trucker hat. It doesn't necessarily have to have the mesh. It has to have just like, to me, it has a look and a feel to it. So it doesn't necessarily have to have the mesh. And I'm not really into that, like, very like specific, like, I'm not going to say like, well, that's not a trucker hat because it doesn't have foam. Oh, that's not a trucker hat because it doesn't have a mesh, or so trucker hats are kind of like, it's a style, it's a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Annie asked for a hat wash video. Cernoch already has a hat restoration video. A couple, I feel like. No, I know there's like one for sure, but you've gone over it on live streams as well. Like I said earlier, hat wash videos are hard.
It's every single hat is different. So this is made out of like like a kind of like a polyester type foam. Sometimes if you get a stain or like a smudge on here, instead of having to wash it, sometimes it's just like like scrubbing it out just with a dry brush will get that out.
Right.
Every hat's different, so it's hard to say like, hey, here's a way to here's the solution to do it, because I'm still messing around. Some of your white hats, some of your dark hats. All I have is just think about kind of how you wash clothes,
sure,
materials that you use, and to be like, wait, should I put this in? Should I soak this? Should I do this? And it's just like, I'll tell you this: 2 things never to do. Never put it in your dishwasher. Never put it in your washer machine. Okay. The only time you should be putting it in your washer machine is to soak. If you ever put it on a spin cycle, you're going to ruin the hat. And I've heard people like, oh, I've done it all the time. Okay, well, maybe it worked for you, but
you're getting lucky.
Yeah, you got lucky, because some of these hats they'll get torn apart in that spin cycle.
Even have you seen some of those, like, what was it? Lids used to sell those like hat guards. that you could put it into like a little frame thing and stick it in the wash and protect it. You ever try that? I never did.
I have tried that. Again, they're
No
not,
bueno.
they're not the best because
doesn't the bill like just get deteriorated? I mean, if you're putting it in that stuff, like it gets like where it's wonky.
Yeah, I've tried it and I don't like it. I have,
You're a fan of soaking though, like just soaking.
Yeah.
Watching it, scrubbing, just putting a little elbow grease in it, letting it soak.
OxyClean. Yeah.
OxyClean. Okay, so a lot of OxyClean and then Dawn dish soap. Okay. So OxyClean and Dawn dish soap, you can't go wrong with those two items. Okay. For hats, don't use the bright white or the dark OxyClean. Use kind of like the one for all. But those two things. And some of your like spot removers, you could use that. So if you play around with those elements, because the Dawn dish soap brings out a lot of the grease in the hat, especially like in the bill, it brings it out. Now, are you gonna get your hats perfect bright white? No, not every hat you're gonna, oh my God, I just made it brand new looking. You're not gonna get to that, but if you get to a wearable point, because people know that they're buying used hat, so it's gonna show some signs of being used.
Right. I mean, again, I cannot convey how much knowledge this dude drops when he goes live and when he decides to drop knowledge. I mean, just the simple thing of stuffing your hats with garbage bags or trash bags, just to kind of make them a little plumper, nicer, for the, maybe that's from your restaurant days, the presentation appeal.
Yeah, presentation. How to take pictures too,
for sure.
Like I have a look not all my own, but I like to use the 3/4 like angle look.
Sure.
So, like, when you see all of mine on Gray Out or all of mine on Depop, it's like boom, it looks all the same, and it has just like a good look to it.
So speaking of that, like if you guys have never seen his Instagram, man, he's got Tim doing this too. I think Cernoch is one of the few people that I know that like F the white background. We're gonna do wild, really just in your face, sometimes gaudy like backgrounds, man.
We were doing that for a while, yeah. Again,
thought process. What were you thinking?
Just to pop it out, We were doing that on Depop, just kind of messing around. Because Depop was that. Now Depop has gotten a little more. Because Depop hated white backgrounds. And then they wanted color, so we were doing that. But like now, Depop was like, okay, white backgrounds are okay. So I'm kind of like converted back to like the white backgrounds, because they said it's okay, and they're pushing more of the white background type stuff. But like, yeah, Instagram again. I wish I was a little more active. I just get so wrapped up in like just listing and sourcing and kids and school and all that stuff. Bro. It's like. I'm like, oh my God, I post something on Instagram.
Yeah.
We got today, we got yesterday. It just catches up where it's like I'm just trying to make money. I'm just trying to like list. Because y'all have seen my death pile. It goes on and on. I've got right here. I've got 90 hats going. Hey, can we get listed? Behind me, I've got 50 shoes going. Hey, we doing anything? I got 200 coats downstairs going. Hey, it's gonna be coat season soon. Are we gonna get listed this year? So
I feel you, man. I feel you. I resemble that remark. It's one of those things. Hey, I know, Tank. You have talked about doing the hat cleaning live at some point.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna. Yes. Now this is all contingent on me being able to get it set up, and what I want to do, basically what it boils down to is the kids need to be out of the house and no distractions. So I can do like as long as I want, and I'm shooting for like a Saturday, like, how you do your Tuesday, like list all day type thing. I kind of want to do that to where I've got 50 hats ready to roll that we need to clean and resize, we need to, dust out the foam. So what I'm going to try to be planning, and I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to put it on Instagram. I'm going to shoot it out and maybe do a small video like, hey, we're going to be doing this It's probably gonna be like on a Saturday, and it's probably gonna be like a 5-6 hour type, session or 8 hour session to where it's gonna be like, hey, you come along with your hat questions, and we're just gonna clean hats, and we're gonna ask questions. People can come on. Now, the stipulation for coming on is you gotta have a hat to clean, or you gotta have a hat. It ain't gonna be no local.
Bring your hat to clean day. All right.
Hey, so are you gonna put out an ingredients list? Or are you gonna put out like a recipe?
Okay.
Hey, you need your soaking pot. You need your nail brush. You need your
and that's why I just want to do it like at a. All right, hey, we're doing it today. Like I want to get people prepared. I want to give them a list. Hey, make sure you have a brush like this.
Bro, I got my brush.
Some OxyClean. Make sure you have this, and people can show me things like, hey, oh, bro, I've got this hat right here. Oh, is this any good? Yes, this is a logo athletic diamond Cowboys hat. Now, now the snap's all like broken and stuff like that. Well, hey, I always tell people like, hey, these things are your best friends. If you want to restore hats, go buy hats. Go buy trash hats too. Pick them out of the garbage. Buy the trash hats. Rip these things out. Cut them out. Do all those things, and then you can cut these out. Put a new one in. Like how sick is this going to look when it's done? Having a brand new one in there like that. And then I'll show you like, all right, hey, what are we going to do to like stiffen this up and get it, So I've got a bunch of hats, different things that need to be done to them. So, again, I'm going to be working. People can be working. I can be doing this and, oh, hey, I got this one. Like, tell me about this one. Okay, throw that one away. Or like, hey, let's work on something else. Or, I just want to make it a thing where everyone can bring their hats. And do it and do like a whole day out of it. Because if
I'm feeling a tote right now, man, in anticipation, I'm feeling a tote. And I went to a estate sale this past weekend. They had a container of OxyClean sitting up there. I was like, oh yeah, we're grabbing that. That's gonna
yeah. And then all the things that I teach will be like, you can take that with you and you can experiment and you can go, okay, all right, I have this hat. Because I get so many questions about like, well, like the number one question is like when you get a hat like like a crumbly hat, especially with the mesh, it's like, do you cut the mesh out? And like, man, I've said that like 1,000 times to cut the mesh out. I've showed that like a million times. Yeah. It's just like I think people just need to see it, do it, and have a hands-on.
There you go.
Yeah. I can go, wait, am I doing this right?
Hey. So you know how Lonnie has the box resizer, right? So I think you should come up with your own little like nail brush thing with your logo on the side. Like be like, hey, hat cleaning kit right here.
No, listen, you can go get this at Walmart for $3. Yep. It's a shoe cleaning. It's a suede nubuck shoe cleaning kit.
That's great.
This brush, and they make this brush right here. They make it, you can go find it right now at Walmart or Target or wherever. It's the best. It's the best. Like,
dude, it's a strong brush. I don't know. I've had it for over a year now, and it's seen a lot of shoes, and it's still holding its shape and stuff.
Yeah, This has hit shoes. This has hit hats. This has hit like you could. Yeah. I mean, it's the Swiss Army knife of cleaning brushes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, dude, even like having folks come to you, because you're talking about I feel like the stuff you're talking about, you have so much stuff in your mind. It's hard to pinpoint which direction to go first. So I think someone presenting stuff to you, almost like have you ever seen a Gary Vee talk? He likes to do the Q&A stuff, Yes. And I think that's where you're good at it because you have so much foundational knowledge from all your research that you're quick on the fly. Like, oh, I can show you this hat, and you're like, boom, 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 boom. And I feel like if you document it well, you keep track of when those times happen, you can edit it, man, and just cut it up and just make that a video, dude. Not have to do anything fancy.
And that's the thing. It's like I want people to, you know, I get a lot of questions, and I do want to do a live, and I'm gonna let everyone know, and you know, like, hey, when this is happening, I have to figure it out. It'll probably be a Saturday, but
Yeah.
you know, where everyone can come in. You know, I'll drop the link. If you come in, you got a hat question, great, boom. You know, like, and then you can sit there and you can you know, clean the hat with me, or if you just want to show some hats, you can do that too. We can run 6 screens, and, you know, it doesn't matter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, the rare occasion it happens, I always get something out of Cernoch's live. So you guys are lucky enough if he goes on and happens to drop some of those knowledge bombs.
There's no doubt, man. I enjoy it so much on Tuesday when he has a chance to pop in, because I'm like, dude, like hat classes in session, like you can get, and he's working the whole time talking to you too, so he's like still doing the work.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing all those things. I'm
cleaning shoes, like he's been doing all kinds of stuff when he's in there with me. I know.
I've got hats, I've got shoes, I've got pants, I've got downstairs. It's like I got racks and racks of just like shirts, and you know. But I want everyone to you know, have an opportunity to show me stuff, to ask questions, and I want to do like a whole day type thing where it's like, hey,
man,
you know, like I'm gonna be working still, because I need to redo a lot of these hats to sell them. I've got boxes and boxes of K-brand hats that need all the stuff, you know, cleaned up and spray starched and, you know, redid so I can sell them, you know. So that'd be a perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's great, man. When you can work and go live and have other people hanging out with you, makes it not as monotonous too on yourself. For sure. People learn, you learn.
Yeah.
It's a win-win all the way around.
Hatapalooza, buddy. Come one, come all. Sunday.
Oh, dress patterns. Oh, dude. Again, see, now this. Right,
oh, boy.
Up dress patterns. This is a perfect example of investing in yourself, investing in time. I went to one of my thrift stores, and they had like 4 like garbage bags full of dress patterns. So I'm like looking through them. I'm like, And so I said, how much you want for these? They're like $10, takes them all. I'm like, oh, I'm taking them all of them. Came out to like 400 dress patterns.
Jeez.
But I looked at them like, these are new dress patterns. And like kids' costumes and this and that. And basically it took me all day, one day, just to like educate myself on them and to look them up and be like, okay, this is this. And then after I got a chance to like look at what I just bought, it was like, okay, like, oh my God, I have, $2,000 worth of stuff right here in front of me. So, like listed it all, but those are those residuals that, I learned something, on the fly. I looked at it. I said, I'm going to buy that, learned it on the fly, and took advantage of it. And, dude, I sell dress patterns like every single day still. It's like,
that's what's up.
Again, it's 10, $15 coming in. But again, it's all about making those sales,
yeah.
eBay algorithm going.
Oh, it's just not even being intimidated by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you had 400 of them. $10 at 400. I mean, what's that? $4,000?
Yeah.
$10 to $4,000. If someone told you that you can make $4,000 off $10, it may take you a year to do it. What are you gonna do?
But again, like it's just like, all right, you just get it up there, list it, do the research, and yeah. So.
How much for all is what Lisa
said. Lisa.
Yeah, you can sell them all at once. But that's what the reselling is. No matter if it's hats or shoes or shirts. One of my things is you got to have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it and you're trying to sell this stuff, you're going to be miserable like I was miserable at the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I swear, if you don't have a passion for it, you're going to get burned out just like you get burned out anywhere else. And that's what keeps me going. That's the excitement. I can go down in my basement and go, oh my God, I got this jacket I haven't sold yet. Like, look at the, it's like finding it again. Like, like, oh man, get excited about that. And like, let's post this. Let's do this. So just like the hats, I box them all up and then I'll go through them like, oh, I can't believe I still have this one. All right, let's get this one sold. So.
Well, it's crazy. I find stuff like that in my death pile from time to time that I was like, dude, I forgot I even had this. Like and then you list it and it's gone. Like it's out. And you're like, oh, what were you doing? It's funny.
But then even if you see, here's the thing too. I just purchased this off of eBay. Okay. But here was the problem.
Break and snap.
Oh.
And here's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But guess what? I got this for $18. This is an $18 hat. I mean, it's an $18 hat I bought it for, but after I'm done with it, it's a $150 hat.
That's what's up.
Chassis by Deere, power by Ford, K-brand. I have this K-brand snap in my pile. So,
yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Hey, Kent said to ask about the tank story.
The tank story. So my nickname in the community is Tank. So basically, what happened was, again, it's good to show your accomplishments and your wins, but I think it's as good to show your fails too. And I had one of the biggest fails, kind of like last year on my eBay, 2019. I bought like 50 of these vintage model from like the 60s and 70s model tanks. And I was like, I'm going to make thousands of dollars off of these. I'm going to put them all in one listing. And someone's going to come and, it's going to be a bidding war. And I'm going to make thousands of dollars. And I did a whole video. I did like a 30-minute video on just like me describing the tanks and a special link. And then they were scale model tanks. And, I spent like 6 or 7 hours on this one listing, and I got it up, put it up for auction. I had some watchers and I had some things. Well, make a long story short, it sold for $21.50. Or no, $22.50 to some dude in Canada, and I even did the shipping wrong because I had free international shipping.
Ouch!
Oh,
and like, so like I made the guy mad. I never shipped them out.
Canceled.
Refunded his money, and got a negative for it and everything like that. But then again, it's all about doing the research. I went back and I did all these research on all these tanks. It was like, dude, it was like a week of like tanks, finding them on this one website, model tanks, and I started listing them, and I listed them for like, I started listing them 150, 75, this, that. And I've sold probably like 10 or 15 of these tanks at like, anywhere from like probably $50 to $150 a piece. But it was, again, putting in the knowledge, putting in that time rather than trying to, like, oh, hey, let me just put it all at one time. Okay, that's not what the market did. Again, I could put a bunch of hats on at one time and you're thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make a bunch of money, but then it doesn't go for that much. But that one hat could be special to someone where it could, if you do the knowledge and you do the information, like, one hat like this could bring in as much money as that whole lot,
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that's the tank story.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I think everybody has that there. I mean, you take an L every now and then, like if you don't do the research. You pick stuff up early on, you're like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. I've paid a couple guys to take something off my hands because I either listed it wrong or didn't do the right thing or put it on auction. Like you watch the big guys, they're like, oh yeah, put it on auction for 99 cents if you don't know what it is. It's like, dude, yeah, it just sold for 99 cents. Thanks.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tracy asked how many tanks are still left.
Oh, I've got about, I don't know. I don't. And then
They're buried deep below Paul.
Yeah, of my listed ones, I probably got like 10 or 12 left. I have a bunch that I haven't even listed yet because I was like, they're like smaller ones. I'm just like but you know what? That'll come. I packed them all up. I said that'll come at a different time. We'll do that at a different time. There's money in there, but it's like I'd rather work on some of this stuff rather than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Anthony, we like to get the other side of the story. like you said, most people don't tell bad stories on their stuff. It's like, man, you mean it's not all Ferraris and like?
Yeah. I thought I was gonna get a Ty Lopez mansion if I sold shoes.
I thought every shirt sold for $1,000. Like,
yeah,
really? No.
Well, that's the thing. There's good buys, there's bad buys, there's junk, there's you know.
Dude. Even just, I mean, at the very beginning, I told you guys like I think I just shipped a golf club poorly and I got damaged on the way there. And here I am in the middle of editing a how to ship a golf club TikTok. Fail.
Love you. In the end, it's good because like the ups and downs of reselling. I'd say beat being in a restaurant any day of the week. You know.
Yeah.
The 9 to 5 grind or whatever you're doing. Like I never had a 9 to 5 job. I had a 4:30 to 4 in the afternoon job. I've had it where I was running a restaurant, owning that, doing that.
Dude.
So, yeah, it's
I mean, just
compared to that.
We were just talking to our uncle yesterday, man, and he's been in the same bread factory for like the last 20 years, man. Gets up at 2 a.m, works for 10 hours, and now because of COVID, he's got to stand in his box. He can't even move anymore. He can't talk to nobody because he's got his like plexiglass station. He's like, dude, talk about soul sucking, man. And here I am, like, I got the afternoon kind of free today. I'm walking around with my son and my wife. Like, I need to hustle later when I get home, but I can kind of, turn it on when I want, and turn it off when I want. That can be dangerous, but it also can be a good thing too if you're someone who needs to have some more flexibility in your time.
Yeah.
Dude, with your kids, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't have the kids tonight, but I've literally been doing kindergarten for like the last 2 weeks. Computer and Thatcher, my son's right here on the calls, doing that. I'm like, all right, mute that. Okay, now, okay. Oh, make sure you get the,
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit different. It's not like they're in school, so it's not hands on. The teacher can't be like, oh, here, this is the paper you need to grab. Because that's what they do in kindergarten. It's daddy right here, like, all right, it's like, y'all need to grab out, this coloring section. Like, I'm digging through the bag, like, all right, where is this? Where,
Yeah.
So, and then I'm trying to listen at the same time and listen and do all these things. So it's been a little stressful. But, again, that freedom to be able to do that and, with my son and to help him out, that's everything,
Ken asked, how about the PE video? Have you had to do the physical education?
Oh, yeah. I love how they do the PE videos because they're like, all right, here's all these exercises. Now record your kid doing them. And then my kid, like, loves that stuff. He's like, I'm doing all these. It's like the first one he did was like, the PE teacher said, all right, I want to show you exercising and show me how you exercise. And so my son was like, he's 6 years old. He's like, I want to go to a jungle gym. I want to go to a playground and to show my exercises. That's and he gets up there and like he's like, I'm like, you tell me what you want to do. He like stands up on the top of the playground area. He's like, Thatcher, I'm going to show you how I like to exercise. And he's like, all crazy.
Hey, you should get him the Hans and Franz sweatsuit.
Yeah,
seriously.
Wearing a pump.
He's like doing all these things, like climbing all this stuff. It was like a it was awesome. So
I thought you were gonna tell us you were gonna send us in a clip from like Billy Blank's Tybo or something.
Yeah, right.
It's funny. My brother-in-law's a PE teacher, so he has to record the video on the other side if this is the instruction on how you do this exercise for like middle school, high school. So he has a bunch of kids that are like following his videos and like shooting them out to all their friends. I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Nice.
These guys were talking earlier though, like, there are obviously some parts you miss of working in the outside world. But for us, I think even especially with COVID and all that kind of stuff, like I think this community part of it is kind of what fills that void in a way, like
Yes.
to where we're able to interact with one another. And I mean, what kind of got you into doing YouTube, like getting involved in the community?
Just watching everyone else do it, and I go, why can't I do it? Like I can do it. I have a personality. I have a soul. Like I have passion. People may like to hear what I have to say.
Yeah, for
Indeed.
sure. For
So,
sure.
Everyone's like, oh, you should do YouTube. So I'm like, all right, And again, I should put out way more than I do, but I look at it as a, kind of P&L, profit and loss. If I'm spending a lot of time doing editing videos and shooting videos, but not listing, it would be a little bit different. Like, how about this? If the sales start like rolling in like big time, to where I'm like, all right, I can take a little bit off, maybe. But like right now, I'm trying to hustle for Q4, and I've got a lot of inventory, and I think I'll always be like that. So what I always say like this, it's like I'm that band that doesn't tour a lot. Okay,
there you go.
I'm that band that is, that if they go on tour, you better go see them, because they may not be on tour for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that with my videos. I'm like, look, I'm doing this video or I'm doing this live. You might, come in. I may make a guest appearance here or there, but I'm not going to be doing the 240 date, around the world arena rock tour. I'm gonna pop into the small club and throw the best show I can do right there. So.
We appreciate it, man. We appreciate you being a part of the community. I know for me, you've been extremely helpful with the whole hat game and even other things, like just wording and listing and some of the things you talk about. For me, dude, I'm taking note. Like I'm applying some of that stuff to my business for sure. It's been a help. So
yeah, and I learned so much stuff, and it's like I'm not the guru. I like to learn. I learn so much stuff from other people and watching other people's and go like, oh man, like I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Like with all this like Guitar Hero stuff, I didn't know anything about that. I just buying that stuff, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my god, like all right, Guitar Hero stuff is like actually worth some stuff. Okay, we keep picking it up,
Yeah.
and that was like 2 years ago. And when the pandemic hit, I'm like, all right, time to unload all the Guitar Hero stuff I've ever picked up, because I had never listed it.
Perfect timing. Perfect.
Let the money gun rip,
dude. I made like $2,000 in one day on eBay. Sales. It was like $2,000 in sales, all Guitar Hero stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, things were selling like
no doubt, man.
So it's like, just like learning different things like that, like learning. I'm really like, I watch, my Instagram. I follow a lot of people that do vintage clothing. So when you're scrolling, you're just seeing all these things. Boom, 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 boom. And, like some people are like, oh, it's aimlessly scrolling. No, it's not. It's teaching your brain when you're flipping through those racks, stop. Whoa, what is this? What's the tag? What's the, this and that? And to where you can kind of like be faster, especially like, I don't comp a lot of stuff. Like if I come across something like I don't know about, I may comp it. But like when it comes to like hats and t-shirts and shoes, I have that built-in knowledge to where like I can go to Goodwill today and be like, pop, 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 pop. All right, this is $5, pop, pop, without having to like, all right, well, let me comp this and make sure this is right. I don't do that much at garage sales. And it's kind of taught me that like I like my favorite spot near me is the Mission thrift store. They don't have good internet service, so I ain't comping anyway. So I just gotta be like, all right, let me just get as much as we can. So
yeah, it's funny, man. Certain things I comp, but like going to a estate sale, I mean, if it's cheap enough, dude, a lot of times I don't. I just go like, hey, I'm gonna take a chance. It looks like it's something different, something odd, something you don't know, but.
I mean, that's what you kind of hope for. You do it long enough where you develop an eye and you can kind of expedite stuff, and it's almost like playing poker. You know, you play it long enough, you kind of get a feel for, you know, should I gamble on this? Should I not? Should I kind of walk away from this hand, or should I, you know, keep playing and see where things go? So,
yeah, you know certain things are going to have inherent value.
yeah,
Before, you know, like, all right, I can pick this up at night. I know, you know, I can get way more than what I'm buying it for. You know, so
Yeah, for sure.
I do that with a lot of things.
mm-hmm.
Sure.
So,
Man.
but yeah, Instagram. And follow me on Instagram, Cernoch's Connection. I need to post more, but any questions on hats or shirts or just vintage items or just want to say hi, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I first started following Cernoch from Tim. I don't know. I found you somehow, and like he didn't know me. I had just started my social media, and I messaged him about a historically black college sweatshirt, and they kind of helped me out with that, you know. So it's sold, by the way. BLM has helped a lot of that stuff. By the way, good to look out for some of the historically HSBU stuff. So
Yeah, and I think we kind of all like popped up, like we were kind of like YouTube newbies here and there.
Yeah.
So I follow people, and I'm like, I like that person. I'm gonna follow them. I'm gonna watch their videos. I'm gonna jump on their lives. I'm gonna interact with them. If I like someone, I'm gonna do it. If I don't like someone, I'm just gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna talk to that person. You know. So I mean, so be it. But you know, I think everyone came in, like, you know, especially you guys, Tim. You know, it was genuine. You know, it wasn't this like fake YouTube. I'm gonna show you how to do eBay today. You know, like that stuff doesn't get me right. You know,
I'm gonna do a whole video like the ShamWow guy for you.
Yeah. I mean, because like I can do it. Hey guys, I'm gonna show you how I bought this hat for 50 cents and I sold it for $200. I'm like, that's not me, you know.
Hey guys, Billy Mays here.
Oh man. R.I.P. Billy Mays.
R.I.P. Billy Mays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's it is crazy, man. You see stuff that you're just like, what? Is that real? Like, there's no way that's real. I've comped some stuff people have said before, and I was like, ain't no way. Hey, wait a minute, I sold that same thing last week. But yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, I think I look for people that are genuine and, you know,
for sure, man.
Like, hey, would I go drink a beer with this guy? You know, or would I go hang out with these dudes? Yeah, okay, cool. You know, on their show.
It's funny, man. Like you see some stuff. I guess for me, that's one of the things where I never have took it like so serious to that point. Because like a lot of times, you know, when I first started YouTube, I was trying to do perfect, which was terrible anyway. But I was trying to do it like, okay, if I screw up anything, I'm going to back up. I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to do all that. Then I was like, you know what? If I mispronounce something, I'm just going to let her eat. I still can't say that stupid pencil stuff, the Ticonderoga. Yeah, I still can't say that. I was telling those things for like weeks, man. And I'm like, I get on there, it's Ticonderoga, it's Ticon. I can't get it out. You guys know what it is. You know, that kind of thing. So I was like, you know, if you can't be yourself and people like you for that, then
exactly.
That's the thing. I mean, obviously you want to be respectful of other people's stuff, but you know, for me, I just like it's one of those things. I like people that are genuine. I like people that are, you know, like yourself, like I said, you're passionate about what you do. You can tell that, you know, and it's real. So like I'm the same boat. I tend to follow guys who are like that way for sure.
Dude, so speaking of which, right? Like, did you pass out when you saw Mr. Buys a Lot like stash?
Which stash?
Oh gosh, did you go multiple times?
Yeah, no. When we went down there, that was interesting. It was it was a lot of digging. It was good.
Sure.
But it was a lot of digging, and this is where a lot of people I always tell people like, oh man, I'm going to thrift shop. I'm gonna pull out all this vintage clothing, or I'm gonna go to the bins, and it's like, look, there's a lot of digging when you do, anything. You may go to a rag house, you may dig through 900 pounds of clothing to find 2 of those shirts that are worth $150.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's we did a lot of digging that day. We found some good stuff. Would I do it again? And that was a lot of digging. I don't know.
He told me it was I had talked to him I guess the week after, and he was like telling me how much stuff it was. So
yeah, it was just a lot of stuff. Oh, these are some shoes I traded with a friend locally. They're newer stuff. They're not. There's some Boost shoes. So
okay,
there you go. Yeah, I was listening to some guys who were talking about like spending 10 hours at a rag house, like digging through it. Like basically somebody comes and cut a pallet and you're just digging through the clothes, like to try to find a handful of items. I was like, man, I don't know. I it's one of those things when you look at treating this thing like a business, it's like, how much is your time worth at some point?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's just those different things. Yeah. And and it's finding where you want to go to source. And that's the thing. Right. If you're better at estate sales, go to estate sales. If you're better at thrift places, go to thrift places. Rag houses, buy whatever works for you, So.
Yeah, I'm finding that like if you can, because oftentimes used to I sourced every day for a while. Like I was every day in the thrift stores. I was every day like looking whatever. And then now, I've been fortunate that I've run up on a situation where I can go about once or twice a week and I'm good to go. Like I ain't got to deal with it. Even I took about a week where I didn't source because I had so much stuff. I was like, but I miss it. You start getting the itch, right? You're like, I gotta get out there, gotta see what it is.
It's therapeutic sometimes just to be like, all right, let me get out of the house. That's what I did today. I was like, I don't have any kids today. Let me get out of the house and let me do some light shopping.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to buy some stuff every once in a while just to keep your keep your skills.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, especially like now, I haven't really been sourcing, and definitely not nearly as much as like Eric, but I try and keep my ear, to the grapevine and like just listen for like any opportunity that comes up. I had somebody, they were just telling me that their father passed away and they have a whole shed of just new automotive parts and tools that they want to get rid of. I'm like, I'm down to check it out. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh yeah. And then there's a whole attic. And then I'm talking to my wife, my mother-in-law, and she does mortgages. So I'm like trying to figure out, can I get in touch with some of these, real estate agents and maybe get involved with house cleanouts? I don't know.
Yeah.
So definitely different ways to kind of, play the game, but trying to search. I want to try and get there before everybody else, and try and get a low price and whatnot. So if you could be like one of those dudes, like my parents paid a guy like this who took away your junk, you paid him to take away your junk, but he was flipping it.
Yeah.
He was very picky about what he was taking too.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me he's only taking like the electronics and not taking this other stuff. Right. This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
but it's like this. Almost no matter where you're at in the country, where you live, unless you live like out in the middle of the desert, you're gonna be able to find something to flip. And you can I think you can make it. You just gotta create your business plan, which is gonna be, whatever you get into, the best to your abilities to source, because there's always different creative ways to source. Yeah. I get tired of people saying, well, I can't go out here and do this, and I can't. That's excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Like no doubt. Said, there's free items everywhere. Yeah. There may be like, hey, put a Facebook ad in your local community and say, hey, I'll come haul away your junk, or hey, you want to donate some clothes to Goodwill? I'll take your clothes to Goodwill for free. I'll just come with my car, put all your clothes in there, so you don't have to drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Emily brought up the thing too, like the whole thing with if you start getting up with people at yard sales, leaving their card wherever she goes. I do that all the time, man. That's that's what got me into the situation I'm at now. Is because I started going, and like I was telling Cernoch before we got on air about, like, sometimes too you need to build some trust with who you're trying to build a connection with. So you need to buy, like, I bought some stuff this past week that I was like, not really my cup of tea, but dude, I bought it because I want the guy to keep looking for me. So like, if I said, nah, I'm not interested in that, you know, and now you're like, hey, once you're building some rapport with somebody, the stuff gets better and better. Really.
That's how probably I found one of my most expensive sports hats lately. I wanted to show you all this. I wanted to show you all this crispy cleanness. I was at a garage sale and I was talking to these people, and they were like, I gave them one of my cards, and I said, hey, you know, if you ever come across hats or whatever, you know, let me know. And their dad passed away. They were going through all this stuff, and he had a whole bunch of hats, whole bunch of trucker hats, whole bunch of sports hats, whole bunch of Washington Redskins hats, and they were like, well, we got this one hat. I don't think it's Redskins. I think someone made a mistake and bought it for him. So he just left the tags on and never wore it. And it was right here.
Oh my
What?
That's like the crispy.
That's so crispy, dude.
Like, you know what I'm saying? With the tag still on there, with the OG price.
Blackhawks, I hear you, man.
So
okay, God.
What are you thinking on that?
I've got a list. I think I've got a list right now for like $500 to $600 right now.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I have one like that. It's a San Jose Sharks one. I need to like maybe list it for $250.
Yeah,
list it too low.
Prime, like you won't, you know, you're not gonna find.
It's like the shark tooth, right? Like shark tooth.
Yeah. But it's like stuff like that. I would have never gotten that call unless I talked to them at the garage sale and gave them my number, and, you know, told them what I'm into. So it can't hurt, you know. If you
put it out there. Every now and then you have somebody be ugly to you. I mean, every now and then somebody be like, I'm not getting. It's like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you just move on to the next person, right? Like,
and that kind of goes all the way back to one of the first questions. Like, anything I learned from the restaurant industry, you know, that helped me out now. One of the things it is if you do something good for someone, they're going to tell their friends about it.
No doubt.
Okay? Right. So those people that I spent $300 on probably 150 hats. Like, I got them at like $2 a piece. Now the thing is, that, but a couple of those hats already paid for everything, not yet. I do have it listed though. And that brings me around to where I made a good rapport with them, to where maybe down the line, it ain't going to happen next week, but maybe, a year from now, those people may be helping someone else out and be like, oh my goodness, I know who you need to call to get rid of these hats. He will get you money for these hats.
Yep.
And that just goes down the line.
Oh, word of mouth too, I mean, and part of like that building rapport, like Brian's talked about this, just like not being cheap. Because I think sometimes, we're trying to buy low and they just come off cheap. And sometimes I guess that can turn other people off,
Yeah.
So, being within your margins, but also, not like leaving a sour taste in someone's mouth when you're doing a transaction.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. My guy, like, I've literally only one time have I ever had to counter offer. Like, only one time. And it was just because he thought it was something that it weren't. And I was like, but then I still ended up buying something that same day that I wouldn't have normally bought, because he's like, hey, I got these 3 boxes of CDs. I don't care nothing about no CDs like myself. And he said $10. There's probably 300 CDs there. I was like, 3 cents a piece. There's got to be $10 of value.
Yeah.
And so I like, things like that. But, for the most part, though, he's shot me straight. And that's the thing that you find somebody like that, and he's calling me when I'm out at the 411 with Colton and them. He's like, hey, bro, I'm going to pick up some ink. Like, I got some ink for you. Like, this kind of stuff. I was like, he sends me a picture of a couple of them. He's like, hey, do you want this? Yeah, for sure. Like, it's that kind of stuff. So, I mean, but I would have never found that if I kept my mouth shut. Like
Yeah.
I'd have never found that if I didn't ask a question. Like I went to how I first met that dude. I went to an auction, and pre-COVID, I went to an auction. He's there, and I just meet him. I say, "Hey, do you guys just do auctions?" Nah, man, we do estate sales. We do all kinds of pickups. So I mean, that's the stuff that you got to look for. Is like look for the little crack in the door there, and then go on and open the door.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. Hey, I resell, man. Like I buy stuff in bundles. Like that's what I like.
Absolutely.
You never know what you'll find in a bundle.
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of, bring it all back. Again, it's it's out there. It's to buy. It's just hey, it's putting in the work, putting in the grind, putting in the it's our business. So it's like however you want to make your business go. And I think my business has been pretty successful. The way I've been doing it. So I'm just gonna keep at it, keep doing it, and tinkering with it here and there, and keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely admire your willingness and your commitment to learning about stuff, just stuff, picking it up, and not just like what is it comp for type of deal, like really getting into it because like I was talking to my friend, dude paid like $4,000 to take this like digital marketing course, dude, people are paying $4,000 to do what you're doing, the hustle, the grit to figure it out, and then like make a nice description out of it, a nice title, and like sell it. Copywriting.
Well, that's the thing. If you're doing eBay, they show you sold.
Yeah.
They're there. You know what I'm saying? And there's anything there. Grail now shows sold. So you can go there and just be like, all right, let me just type in, if you want to educate yourself on, rare Jordans, okay? Let me just see every rare Jordan that's being sold right now. All right, if I'm at somewhere, I need to look, New Balance shoes, whatever category you want to get into, just look at that and kind of soak yourself up. And me, I'm very photographic, where it's like, all right, I see something, all right, put it in everything, and that's the business we're in. That's what I'm a walking, I can go in there and go, all right, this, that's all worth money to me. All right, this price, that's right. Cheap enough. I'll buy it all. I'll list it all.
Boom.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to make out what they were saying about. I don't know if he's saying that makes it where you. I know when I make a pile, like people, they usually don't know what to price it to begin with, and I do get it cheaper that way. I don't know if you're saying the opposite.
Yeah.
I've never had the opposite true. I mean, usually what people tell me is they hate the people that pick up 50 items. How much is this? How much is this? How much is that? How much is this? Like people hate that at yard sales. Like you say, like most of the people I've ever been encountered, they're like, man, if you're gonna buy all this stuff, like why ask me what every one of it is?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll be like, hey, what do you want to do on this?
Yeah.
I also hate the person who's like, this is $5 a piece, but I could do a deal. If you get 5, it's $25. I'm like,
Colton had that. Colton had that happen when we were at the 411. I don't know if you've seen his video, Rednecks. He's like, he's talking about it. He's like, the lady said, hey, these dolls are $5 a piece, or you can get the box for $25. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's like, wait a minute, there's 5 in here. Could you give them to me for 20? At least give me a deal.
God.
She's like, nope, absolutely not. 25. He'll make way more than that off of them.
Creative math, Ken says. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just how you spin it. You're like, oh, wait a second. That's not a deal at all.
It's crazy. Some people are that way. And then, like, my other thing that I always do is look for an item that's going to pay for everything. I always do that.
Oh, yeah. I
was like, I can make it all off this one. Let me just keep making more pile.
Yeah.
That's the best.
That's what you do. Sometimes you find an item that you put in there that may be worth more than the one you thought was going to be the moneymaker.
That's what I did with those hats. The lady wanted, $300 for it, and I was like, well, that one hat could pay for the whole thing. So let's.
Dude, isn't that the problem with reselling sometimes, right? Like you get a whole bunch of stuff and you don't think it's gonna sell, and you find that one random like diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Like pays for it all, doubles your money. Like, damn it, I'm back in it again.
It makes you go back and get more.
Yeah, it's funny what sells sometimes too. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like, it was so funny. Like, I've been doing all these sweaters and sweatshirts.
Mm.
I had a sweater. It was like a brown sweater. It had like a small embroidery in the middle that said Adirondacks Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I had it listed for like a day and a half. It had like 7 watchers and like 300 views on it. I'm like, why is this? And like, I was getting all like these like people were like sending me like, and I was trying to do comps and stuff. I'm like, this is nothing. Like, and boom, it like sold for like full price. Like probably like 12 hours later. I'm like, what was so special about that? But you never know if there's gonna be something like, you know, with some of these things where it's gonna be like special or like.
Yeah, you have no idea,
dude. Especially with fashion, man, it's hard to like not put your objective opinion into it. You know, I said it to my wife. She's like, I would never buy that. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you would buy. It matters that somebody else will buy it.
That happens with hats all the time. Sometimes I'm like, yo, this one is a banger hat. Like some of my like trucker hats will be like,
yeah.
I'm like, yo, this one right here is awesome. And like, nope, it was that green dog hat that people went crazy for on Grail. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Like why? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. So, you know, I like to, like we were saying, go in bulk too, like buy in bulk.
Sure.
Because, you know, instead of being like, getting that one item, it's like, hey, we just keep throwing a whole bunch of items up.
Yeah.
You know, these will hit.
That's also cuts down the risk, right? That also cuts down the risk because, you know, I hear people say, well, I don't want to spend that much money. It's like, dude, the risk just got a whole lot better. Like,
yeah.
Because you're more likely to make your money back on the minimum. Like, usually I'm looking within the first couple of days. A lot of times I'll have at least my money back out of that.
Yeah.
For sure, by the end of the week, if I list it, you know, you'll get your money back.
So, you know, talk about risk, man. Like, you know, your fashion changes and all that stuff. Like, do you ever worry about like picking up inventory that just goes dead? Like it's out, or, you know, how do you keep up with the trends even?
It's a little bit, yeah. I think about that. I think with hats, hats are just such a staple, and there really hasn't been a crazy evolution of the hat, and that's where it's like, you know, you have your trucker hat, you have your baseball hat, there hasn't been like a crazy evolution, so I think it's always going to be kind of money in there. But with like some of your vintage stuff, I think it's all about buying it at cost, you know, and because like a lot of your vintage stuff, you know, I see like kind of a change where it's like your old 80s stuff isn't selling as good as your like late 90s, early 2000s stuff, to where things that were like 2 years ago, people would have been like, I'm not like, okay, I'll give you $20 for that Toy Story 2 t-shirt. Now they're like, I'll give you $300-$400 for that Toy Story t-shirt. Like what? Like, so yeah, the vintage, it's always changing. So it's like, but again, if you're buying at a cost, like, you know, like I'm very cheap. You know, I like to get shirts at dirt cheap prices. So that's how I buy them. So I think if I'm putting that kind of amount of money in it and getting that kind of quantity, I'll be set no matter what, you know. So
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's the name of the game. It's like if you get it cheap enough. I mean, like you said, cheap without being cheap. You know, if you got a guy or somebody that's giving you a hookup, you don't want to beat them up. But at the same hand, if you're and that kind of goes back to the bulk buy as well, is when you're spreading that cost out over, you know, like you said, buying all those hats. Did you spread it out? Like you might get 2 hats that pay for everything in that bundle, and then at that point, I kind of get the mentality always like the rest of it's just gravy. It's free at that point. Or even if you double your money and then the rest of it's free, like you're like, so if you make it off of it today, tomorrow, next week, 6 months from now, whatever it is.
Yeah, I look at it more. See, with like kind of like the hats and the shirts and the shoes, I look at it as in like, yes, 2 items are gonna pay for it, but I'm gonna list all this stuff.
Yeah,
because I just want the money just to keep flowing in, flowing in, flowing in.
it's that residual income at that point.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times like people are like, oh well, you don't. I really don't do like a really like sit down and do like a P&L. Like, all right, I bought this shirt for $5 and it sold for 15, and then I don't do that because I get stuff cheaper, I guess, than a lot of people. So like, I'm all about like, to me, if I keep listing, the money keeps rolling in, and the more I list, the higher higher it gets.
No doubt.
So to me, it's all about listing, because I've already kind of know what I've been buying and what I have and what I'm listing, so I know it's going to be worth to list, and it's going to be worth, it was worth picking up too.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's it, man. I mean, the more you have in your store, because that's the other thing. I always hear this great debate sometimes on the internet, on YouTube or whatever, where people are talking like, well, I'd rather sell items than have this many items in my store. Yeah, that's all good. I'd rather go to a convenience store that's got more choices than just Pepsi and Coke myself. But like, I mean, that's kind of, I always have that mentality. Like if someone went in to shop at my store, I've only got 3 varieties of items, or I've only got, one thing here, one thing here, one thing here. Dude, the likelihood of me spending money in your store is pretty slim. But if I've got a mammoth amount in there, dude, you're probably going to go buy 1, 2, 3 things over the course of time. But
right.
That's
well, I think it just depends, what like Ken's talking about. Do you want to specialize too? Because like I've been to places like a restaurant, right? They have 5 drinks, 5 entrees, 5 appetizers, 5 desserts. That's all again. But you're no doubt like 2 people eating is definitely an $80 bill.
Yeah.
Before you walk out of there, So I think it's just how probably boils down to your inventory,
yeah. And again, I'm able to source things for super cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and I pick up things, so I can work on volume,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Ken. Find your lane and go.
Exactly, dude. And I think with the hats thing, you solve a couple of essential problems. The space issue for one.
Yeah.
You don't really need a whole lot of space, and you can stick them in a tub. Doesn't really need to get fancier than that. And then like cheap, you can get them cheap. It's not like video games. I don't think hats will ever kind of be like video games where people are like, oh, you know what? Like grandma and grandpa now know that their grandkids like Nintendo is worth something because like esports is all on the news and stuff. I don't know if hats will ever get like that.
Yeah, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and that's, again, it's like shirts, like what I deal in: shirts, hats, jackets, shoes. I mean, it's staples that are gonna,
people always need them. People always want them. Like it's
and like again, a lot of it's stylish, but a lot of it's just like necessity too.
Yeah.
Or like something that's just like, I don't think, something. I don't think like this. You were talking about fashion. I don't think a sweatshirt with something said on it is ever going to go out of style. So if you just pick up that, that'll always be in, probably no matter what.
Yeah.
Unless we're all wearing like weird space suits in like 50 years.
Yeah. Like I said, it's kind of crazy. I mean, you think there's definitely a lot of ways to tackle the thing, for sure, and a lot of it too depends on where you're at, like where you're at financially, where you're at geographically. Like, I mean,
man,
some places is a little harder to find stuff than other places, or it's just not what it is.
Yeah, and that's what you can do with almost anything. You just find out what's in your, if you want to resell, and you find out what's in your area, you build that, you build that skill, you build that research, over time, and you'll know what to buy and how to sell it. You probably can make a living, off of it, no matter where you are or what you're selling. So,
Yeah. Louis was talking about it may be out in 10 or 20 years. Yeah, anything may be out in 10 or 20 years. So,
You know. Yeah.
or it may be in. Like, you don't know. Like, everything recycles because that's the other thing you see.
Bro,
Like,
I almost bought a Animal Crossing Switch. I've seen 3 in the wild so far. So like someone pitched the idea of getting some of these specialty like consoles and just sitting on it. I'm like, if it peaked at like $600 during COVID and it ran out, what's it gonna be like in 20 years when nobody can really get it new in box? I don't know. Am I comfortable with sitting on just tossing $300 and not thinking about it?
Yeah, but like everything, you gotta adapt to it. You know, if something, if a category falls off the face of the earth, well, guess what? I'm gonna adapt and I'm gonna go to something else.
Yeah, I mean, and when you see it starting to downtrend, you're just liquidating and moving on to something else, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what you got to do. It's business. Like, I mean, we're still not doing business the way we did it 20 years ago. I mean, we wouldn't all be sitting here, right?
And that's where like a lot of brick and mortar stores have failed because they did not want to adapt. They said, "This is what we've always done. This is what we're always going to do, and no matter what." And their time came, and the market fell off, and they died. To where it's like, if that's how we're going to be, if we're going to have that same kind of thinking, we will die in our business. But if we, adapt and say, okay, let's do this, or maybe, source from here now, or get into this, or research about this, and that will be. I think we'll always be on top, and that's why I think, me as a reseller will continue, way farther down the road.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's one of those things, and I mean, if you look at it in just a very real sense, if you're continuing to list all the time, and you're getting sales consistently off that, you're going to have short flips, quick flips, and you're going to have longer tail items. That's just how it is. Like, it's the same thing in everything in the world, like whether retail, whether something else. But like you're saying, if you're buying items that are, people are buying and buying and buying, that are going to continue to buy, like you said, unless you're wearing space suits, like you're still going to be doing that right on. So it's just how you attack it. I mean, do you have a plan? That's kind of the thing that people often overlook. If you're just flying by your seat of your pants all the time, then yeah, you're probably going to get swept away. But that's where that research and all that comes into play too.
100%, yeah.
For sure.
If you guys haven't already, I'm going to drop Cernoch's link in here one more time for you guys. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat for him if you guys have anything lingering.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get. I will let everyone know, kind of like when I'm gonna be doing that hat live. I just gotta again get it organized. Get it organized and get a date like set. Where like, all right, I'm gonna have this date to myself so I can, kind of like focus in on everything for the chat, for the live, for everything.
Get it.
I will. Yeah, I will. I've wanted to do that. I was thinking like, man, what's the next live I want to do? And that's kind of one of the things, because I have so many people asking questions to where it's like, all right, let me do that.
This dude's a machine. If you haven't seen him work on a live stream before, he's like cleaning hats, managing his kid and his dog, and then answering your questions.
Yeah.
So this man deserves a tip or something.
Brian said he's going to deck out his spacesuit with vintage patches.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah.
That's the both worlds.
That's it.
But yeah, it is. I mean, for me, it's always interesting to think about, like, down the road what it'll look like. But in the meantime, there you can dream or think about stuff like that, try to plan down the future. But really, it comes down to the grind for most of us. Is you got to get it. If you ain't getting it, like if you ain't listening, if you ain't, you're either listening or loafing.
Yeah, listening or loafing.
It's one or the other.
I'll be listening tonight, so I'm just
I'm gonna try to knock out about 15 more things too.
Yeah, I've I've got like 30 more sweaters. I've got I've got probably 15 pairs of new shoes. And then tomorrow I'm gonna be cleaning shoes tomorrow, and just cleaning those up, getting those listed, getting hats listed at the same time.
I feel you, dude.
Yeah, that's
But again, I have that. If I want to work during my Saturday, I can. But again, I can have the football games on the back going on. I can have music going on. I make my work comfortable for me.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I'm working, I'm putting the time in, but how enjoyable is that to have that freedom to do that? So,
I mean, you try to have gratitude about that too, because sometimes I'm like, I got a list or I got to do this for like my other, for my regular day job. And it's like, and then I talked to someone like, our uncle the other day and I'm like, okay, I need to shut up and like, be happy and grateful for, the opportunity I have. Not many folks get that, especially right now.
Yeah.
Dude. And inherently, man, even if you decided like, you know what? Reselling is not for me anymore. I'm gonna wash my hands out of it. Maybe I will give 9 to 5 a shot again. And then you're like, nope, I was wrong. You can still go back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you already know how to feed yourself because besides just selling, you have an eye for procuring an item.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
For sure. It's one of those things like the little sign. Dante just mentioned it. My little sign. Good things come to those who hustle. It's true, man.
That's like, what it's all about.
When I was talking to him that one day, I said, man, you think of like if you can grind it out doing this or grind it out doing something else and working for somebody else, dude, even all the little hiccups along the way, man, to me, that's nothing to what you do with it working for somebody else when they can walk in and say, here's your pink slip, you're out. Like, could all these 7 platforms fail? Yeah, it could happen, but not likely. Like, really.
Are you going to run into problems? Are you going to have returns? Are you going to have crappy customers? Yes, that's part of business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not all.
Yeah.
Are you going to be like, are you kidding me? They sit back and this, and you're going to have that. You're going to have that in every business. It's not perfect. No platform's perfect. We can all, complain and be like, oh, I don't like this, the fee structure of this and this.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we chose to do, so we're going to.
Well, and ultimately, those platforms aren't sitting there, oh, man, Chris is upset about this. Like, we need to do something. Like, they're not doing that. They're like, no, this is our platform. This is how we operate. Get on board or get off.
You want to use it? Great. If you don't,
go start your own thing. See if you can
Seriously.
drive as much traffic as what we have.
Yeah, and that's why I tell everyone, like, hey, you want to build your own website and put all the money in promoting it and doing all that stuff?
Yeah.
Go ahead. See what happens. So, but again, it beats the heck out of grinding. I always think about this. I saw a meme, and it's the Lamborghini boss meme. If y'all have seen it, it's guy comes into work, sees his boss with a brand new Lamborghini, and he goes, "Wow, boss, that's an awesome car." He said, "You know what? Yes, it is awesome. And you know what? If you work hard enough and put all your hours in and do all the work, I'll have another one next year."
Oh, man.
That mentality is like, man, like, if you're working for someone else's dream, why not work for your dream? And that's what I think we're all to do, with this resale thing.
Man. I mean, I know for me, so I mean that kind of leads to like kind of where we were trying to look at the end goal of this whole thing. So what do you think for yourself? Like, I mean, do you have goal plans down the road that you're like, hey man, this is kind of what I'm shooting for. This is where I want to be. Okay.
So this is that question is very like philosophical for me because I've thought about that question, and it's to be like, it's basically like, what's the American dream? You know what I'm saying? And what do we want? Do we want to be rich and wealthy, or for me, being comfortable, having my bills paid, being able to, just to chill out and relax and not have that stress of that 9 to 5 and a boss on my case. That type of thing. It's like, it's always like this. It's like, and I saw this somewhere and it kind of resonated. Has anybody watched like Married with Children, Al Bundy?
Yeah.
That's kind of the portrait of the American dream. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, you know, like, was he happy? Yeah. Did he go through crap? Yeah. We're all going to do that. You know, we're not going to be all like crazy, filthy rich. You know, I just want to be comfortable. I just want to have the freedom to do what I want. And to me, that's the end game. That's fun with me. I'm never gonna say like, oh, I want to be a millionaire by age 50. No, I want to be able to do this to provide for my family. If my kids need something, if I want something, I can go out and buy it. I can go out and do it, and not have to think like, well, you know, like, well, times are tough and we can't do that. You know, that's the end game. That's kind of my American dream. It ain't buying a $1 million home. It's living in my home, having a good time, raising my kids. And just living, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's important too. I mean, because I think a lot of people do have unreal expectations. You know, I've always said, dude, if you can reach a point to where you're like debt free outside of just bills that everybody got, and you kind of, because one of the things you do get with this, I mean, obviously you got to hustle. I think some people get into working for themselves and they think, hey, I work for myself now, I can just take it easy. It's like, no, dude, if you don't hustle, you're not going to work for yourself for very long. You're going to be in over your head. But if you get to a place in your business to where, like you said, you're not sweating about the next bill coming because you got that, you're okay with that. You're not sweating about a paycheck to paycheck. I hope they didn't dock me. I hope I got enough hours, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, you're not sweating on those kind of things. And then it gets to a place of, hey, now I'm not sweating about those things. So, dude, if I want to take the afternoon off, take my kid to the park, like, I'm good to go. If we want to take a day trip, run out here. If I want to leave for a couple of days, go here. I'm going to work my tail off the rest of the time to get, you know, to make sure I can do those things. But
yeah,
that's what's great, man. We, like, me and my family, we took 2 trips to the mountains recently. Like, we went and yard sailed and stuff, which is what I enjoy to do. Hung out with other people that I enjoy hanging out with. But, you know, if I was working a 9 to 5, punching a clock, working for somebody else in management or whatever it may be, dude, that ain't happening. Hey, you just used up all your vacation time for the year. You got to,
right.
kind of stuff.
Dude, seriously, man. Dude, I mean, like, when the pandemic stuff started, you know, my dad was like going through his cancer treatments. It was so nice not to have to ask another full-grown adult for permission to go see my dad who was sick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then have to plan on how, if I couldn't, how I was going to make up that time. Like, you know, and while I'm seeing my dad, have to worry about the crap that I have to make up. Like, you know, whereas like if you got some stuff in order, you know, I don't have to worry about that. Even if I put my store on vacation mode for a little while, you know, so that I can kind of mentally take care of what I need to take care of. That was such a relief.
Yeah, it's about, like, to me, I've been in stressful jobs and stressful situations. I don't want that anymore. And you know what? This provides me not to have that. Not to be, again, a snow day 5 years ago would have been traumatic. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, the kids are off school. How, you know, who's going to take care of them? What's going to happen? I got to go to work. I've got to drive to the snow. Now it's like, all right, snow day, let's go. Pandemic hits. Okay, no school, let's go. You know, like, so it just gives me that freedom to where I don't have to ask another grown man, well, hey, I really need to take this day off, or hey, I got to call out today because I can't do this. Well, we really need you, you know, here. Oh, no, that right there makes it like so much more, and that's the reason I do it. Bro,
just like Emily's saying, right? Like, her husband's getting micromanaged or spied on. What, like, you know, you've been at a job where you're like, can I go on my phone? Like, you're sneaking around your text messages and stuff like that. You're looking at your phone. And it's like you're looking at a smutty magazine in the library or something. It's like, no, you're just looking at my phone. That's okay. Like, but I've definitely been in those jobs where it's like, what are you doing? It's like the hammer's coming down if they see you on your phone during, you know, corporate time.
Yeah. or I'm over here listening away. All right, you know what? That's it. Let's go shopping. You know, like I can do that. I can do that. I can go hop in the car, go shopping. You know, as like Ken said, lifestyle design. That's what it's designing your lifestyle to fit you comfortably, and that's to me, that's the American dream right there. That's the American dream.
Yeah, it is. You know, like Kent said, work most of your life to retire for 5 years, and Miss Annie had dropped in ahead. You know, for those you guys don't know, her husband has cancer. Like we've talked privately about that, but you know, and obviously we're lifting him up, Annie. I talked to you about that before in prayer and stuff, but man, you know, you think about that stuff. Like she said, at that point, stuff means nothing. You know, really all you have is the memories that you had. You know, so if your memory is, hey, my dad was at work, my husband was at work, my wife was at work, like we did this. And I mean, dude, not saying everybody can jump right out into this, but man, when you get the opportunity to do so and you develop a plan to get there, like for me, I know what I need to make every month. I know what it takes for my household to operate. So for me, what I did is I worked backwards on that plan. Hey, I need to list this many items a week at this, you know, and I don't have ultimate control over that. You know, some days are good, some days are bad. Some days I list a ton, nothing sells. 3 days later, all the stuff starts to sell. But, you know, to continue to hone your craft, like you talked about with research, with how you do your listings, with how you handle customer service, all of those things come into play. But that creates that freedom. Is if you put in, you still got to put in work. Like it's not like you sit at your house and just chill all day and be like,
we're talking about freedom here, you know what I mean? Like to break the shackles, you know?
Yeah. I'm not selling anything, but dude, you ain't worked in a week. Like, what did you think is gonna happen? Like you still gotta work, but like it does, man. It is freeing. Good Lord, it's freeing.
Yeah. I'll take that any day. Any day of the week, I'll take that.
Dude, and you don't have to worry about like paying, like my friend did, paying $4,000. I'm pretty confident he's getting scammed right now, you know, for his like digital marketing course. But that's his way. He's got an engineering degree, and like it's funny because like he's got this really high degree, right? And you think, man, he could go anywhere with it. But because of his education, he's boxed in. He doesn't know how to get out. Like all he knows is engineering. So he's trying to fall back on these other things. Whereas like, dude, just by common sense, maybe a little ingenuity and just, you know, pure grit, you're able to figure out this whole other industry, this whole niche of business. People pay to want. I mean, I've seen names thrown out. I mean, courses and stuff like that around here. People pay to learn that. That comes naturally to you. Like
people dream of what we do. You know what I'm saying? Or like dream of like the freedom that we have, that we've built for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know? Like so many people are like, you know, and it's sad, but so many people are like stuck in a job that they're like going every single day and they hate their, you know, like, and they're stuck and they don't know how to get out of it. Like we are the ones that got kind of unplugged from the matrix a little bit, you know. Like we've got like, hey, like you can go and come and do this. Yeah, you got to work hard, but you know there is another side to all this. So
Ken's got George Michael singing "Freedom." Hey, the other side of that there too. Who would have thought? You could go to yard sales and thrift stores, and have that brought you freedom. Right? If you told me that 20 years ago, I would have laughed at your face.
Dude, you told me that fresh out of college, like, I don't know, 12 years ago, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah. I mean, here's Sam, Dr. Sam. He's selling on Macari and got a little farm out of his house. And he's probably like, it's one of those things.
It's funny because, like, I'm watching some of my doctor friends have to find other sources of income because their practices are, you know, crap in the bed. Yeah, you know, my buddy just today added me on Instagram. He's starting a photography company. He's a doctor too, you know, and he owned his own clinic. I don't know, you know, I think he had to just close it down, unfortunately, due to, you know, COVID and all the stuff that's happening up in New York. But, you know, he's trying to do something else now. So, and you know, I've bumped into friends at weddings and they all say, you know, and this is where the engineering being boxed into education. I had my doctor friends tell me, gosh, I am so sick of this profession now. I wish I had a way out like you did. Like, these were doctors who were working their profession, chasing their dreams just like I did, and here I am out of it, doing my own thing, and some would tie shame to it. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just doing what I want. But they're like, dude, if I just knew how to get out of it, I would. And they're almost trapped because it's all they know how to do for survival. It's weird.
Yep. It is. It's one of those things. I mean, like I said, there is some planning involved, and we know that that's not. I mean, dude, if you just got into this thing and you just started selling like very recently, unless you've got somebody seriously taking you under their wing, then obviously don't walk into tomorrow and say, "Forget you, pal. I'll take this job and shove it." Don't do that. Like, I mean, make sure you get some. But for some of us, like myself, I was kind of forced into it with the whole COVID stuff going down. I still have multiple streams of income outside of what I'm doing with this, but I see this as a pathway to freedom for me, for sure.
Yeah, so. And like they said earlier, it's lifestyle, like designing your lifestyle. What's going to make you comfortable? What's going to make you happy? What's going to pay the bills? All those things. Am I going to have enough time with my kids? Am I going to have too much time with my kids?
So, yeah.
It's all those things to where it's like you're deciding you're deciding what you're going to do in your life rather than have someone decide what you're doing. So,
and you talk about American dream. Like I thought about like, growing up, like I want to be a millionaire. And then I really kind of break it down. It's like, I don't really want to be a millionaire. I want the lifestyle of a millionaire is what I want. What I imagine that looks like is that freedom of time and whatever the heck I want to do with it. So,
yeah, it is one of those things.
That's right, Kent.
I know Kent's been typing in all these guys, Mike Tyson type of freedom, like all these guys.
I pay this.
I was like, man, it is. I know that there's plenty of people in the chat that can attest to a lot of this as well, and just seeing that it is. I'm honestly glad we got into this conversation because it is. I think sometimes we need that reminder. I think sometimes people may need that encouragement that, hey, this is why we're really doing this thing, not really just to, sell cool things on eBay. It's really, that's what it's for. And if we can help other people while we're experiencing these things, that's just a bonus, man. Like, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. So, well, guys, we've been on here for a minute. So if anybody's got any further questions in the chat, we'll get you to drop them in there. I know we've, been all over the map, but
Eric, I'm going to be the first to congratulate you on making your hours because if you only need 20 and we've been on here for 2 hours and 17 minutes with 30-some people watching, that's incredible. So, congrats. Hit the thumbs up for that, for the knowledge bombs, and for hopefully we'll see our buddy with some monetization approval sometime this week. No pressure.
Yeah, maybe super chat. Let's see how many videos they take down of mine.
That's all right.
All right. Nah, it is. And, that being said, I do appreciate everybody here. I appreciate all you guys that have helped me along the way. Thanks to everybody that's been watching me for a minute because a lot of y'all have been here since early on. Obviously, our co-host, Sam, who always does, man, just fills in. And honestly, this has been, it's that much sweeter when you got somebody that can come in, and we always work off each other. Like we talk to each other about things that are going on and reselling and life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Sam is pushing up on the 800. Is 850, 860, 870?
I'm like 3 away from 900.
Hey.
I just been slow. I've been like, it's my account grows every day. I've had to pull back. Like my dad's been back in the hospital for some of his cancer stuff, and like we had a family member with like a mental health emergency over the last couple weeks, so we've just been dealing with that. Everything's okay, everybody's safe, but it's taken up my time, so I haven't been able to put out videos like that. But and from the mental health standpoint, if anybody is struggling, hurting, and just in a bad place, just don't hesitate to reach out. You know what I mean? Don't be embarrassed to. Everybody just goes through bad times. So
that's it, man. We definitely appreciate Sam so much. And dude, if you're not subbed to Sam, it's in the description of the channel. Somebody, I'm sure there's somebody in here that has the link, can drop that in there just to make sure. If you're not sub, go check him out. Obviously, he's had to scrap the golf club shipping video, but he's probably
I might just push it
hey,
forward.
you might as well just drop it, man.
I was gonna say I'm just push it through, see what happens.
Drop it. What does it matter? Yeah, so double check that. And Cernoch, man, obviously, man, we've enjoyed having you here tonight. So we're giving you a chance to say whatever you got going on. Obviously, we're looking forward to the hat cleaning seminar.
I promise that's coming. I'll let everyone know. I'll be jumping in other people's chats. I'll be like, self-promoting myself, and I'll be like, hey,
there you go.
I'll let everyone know.
Or simply just hit the notification bell on his channel, and you'll get alerted.
There you go.
Yeah, I might, if you're following me on Instagram, I'll do some Instagram stories.
He's got an address. If you have hats you don't want, just send them to him. He'll take care of them for you.
Hotter than some Nike Grateful Dead SB dunk drops. Just saying.
There you go, man. So, Cernoch, what else? You got anything coming up right now on YouTube? Anything you got going on?
Probably just that hat live, and then probably I don't know. Again, like when I get an itch, I'll jump on stream, or I'll do a live video. You never know. I might be just downstairs taking pictures, talking about vintage jackets one day, or
no doubt,
my t-shirts. Do that. Or maybe just like
jackets. I think I'm listing them things Tuesday.
I'm
gonna list
starters. Or if I get another hat haul, like a huge hat haul, I may do that.
Nice.
We'll see.
Well, man, we appreciate having you on for sure.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for all you guys that are still in the chat, like I said, if you're not subscribed to either one of these, make sure you go ahead and get on these guys' channel. The links are there in the chat. Thank you guys for dropping them in, Kent. Moderating, always dropping stuff through. Emily dropped it in there as well, trying to get the scoop on Kent. So thank you guys for being here. I probably should have a video coming out this weekend. I've got one almost edited, but I had a crazy mix up with my software. It actually, the software I was using now just said that I can't use it anymore in the United States. I don't know what that's about, but I tried to edit my video and it said, "Nah, you done."
Is that software TikTok? I don't know.
No, it's that blog stuff that I showed you before. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
The video, I was like, man, what's going on? Then I tried to delete it, re-download it. It said, nah, it ain't happening. So, and then I looked it up on the internet. And it's like, yeah, it's only available for outside the U.S. now. I don't know. They've banned the U.S. So
weird.
So I've moved over to Filmora, and I'm trying to figure it out. That's where I'm at.
Dude, Daniel Patel. I've sent his stuff over to you before, right?
Yeah. So I'm in there trying to get it. It might just be a very basic edited video coming out. On our trip on the way to the 411, we actually did a different kind of picking, so that video will be out over the weekend.
Right on.
Thank you guys for being here, and we appreciate y'all, each and every one of you on the chat. You can hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. But thank you for being here. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.
Later, guys.